Hello, all. Welcome to our Curiosity Chat on design thinking for embracing curiosity. I'm Shirin Köprücü, the Curiosity Coach, and here with me today is internationally experienced global design thinker Andres Jordan, also my fellow Founder Institute mentor. And we will share our experience about design thinking with you. Andres, my top line definition of design thinking is the questions we can ask about how we can be happy and how we can make others happy. You have much more in-depth experience and research in the field. But what is design thinking?
Okay, so design thinking, there's a lot of versions out there of what people think of design thinking, right? But design thinking, it's literally an innovation methodology that came out of Stanford, made famous by Apple and many others now, that focuses on humans' unmet desires or unmet needs, right? And it's basically an ecosystem of tools that we all use to tap into people's emotions and feelings about a certain product, right? Or a product that we may want to create. So, and it's a process, is a very warm human process where empathy is hyper important. And design thinkers are people that have to have, very good perception, very, have to have abilities. Even mindfulness is important because you want to kind of slow yourself down and try to walk a mile into the person you're trying to innovate for, that you're trying to make happy at the end of the day, right? So we're all happy with our iPhones, right? Or maybe not. But so that's what the same thing. I want people to convey it's a way to think, but also a tool set that everybody can use, and it's very inexpensive in a way to apply some of the techniques and some of the tools, and we'll get into a couple of those tools in this conversation, so we can demonstrate how they're used.
Yeah. You're definitely, you got curious in this topic in many, many different ways. And I look forward to hearing about those tools. And at the same time, I loved how you stressed the importance of feeling behind design thinking.
Right.
What inspired you for the field? Because there's got to be a big inspiration behind behind all your work in the field.
So I had something happened to me, right? In terms of, I talked to a friend of mine who was a neuroscientist, and I told her what happened. I had this incredibly vivid dreams that I never had before, never had since. And I told her what was happening. I was involved in all this product and innovation and using design thinking as one of the tool sets. And she basically said, "Oh, you develop a new level of awareness." She just threw it out there like, "Yeah, let's have lunch," kind of thing, right? And I said, "Oh, okay." And so I became fascinated by it because I saw how applying this human-centered, human-centered skill sets and human-centered tool sets really it kind of awakens you to a kind of a new reality in terms of how you treat people, how you listen to people, how you want to develop product for these people and services, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what happened. And I became very passionate. I've been researching it ever since. I want the whole world to know how to use it. And that's my thing. I'm trying to get it out there to anybody who wants to listen and learn how to use it.
And considering how entrepreneurs begin their initiatives, come to an accelerator, for instance, with all the uncertainty in their mind, will they succeed? Will what they are developing succeed? It sounds like so important that there are these methodologies, these simple questions, these wonderfully genuine conversations can help. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share my inspiration about it. I came to it with an intuition from the pharmaceutical industry. As you know, in the pharmaceutical industry, there is a big research phase before a product can be launched.
That's right. Yeah.
And when I started my firm to help small and mid-sized companies to become international, I was thinking, how, with such more limited resources, what are the methodologies that we can offer that can help? And knowing the success of research in the pharmaceutical industry helped me really become really passionate about this too. And also technology, right? With technology, we can measure so
Mhm.
much more.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, and
So what are a few things that you have discovered?
so there's a lot of things associated with trying to become agile, right? And trying to
Mhm.
really really go deep into somebody's mindset as to what they really want. And it's turned out to be a tool for reduction of risk, or
Mhm.
what they call fast failing, right? All these
Mhm.
things that the pharmaceuticals really could use, right? Before you invest $1 billion into a new drug that nobody needs, and I'm not saying, I'm sure they have massive research budgets, right? But it's very important, and the pharmaceutical's hard because if you're inventing a new, uh, you're inventing a new depression drug, you're not going to really test it at the beginning, right? But in other products, what you do is you talk to people right from the get-go, day one, and start saying, this is what we're going to build. What do you
Mhm.
think about it, right? Start right from the beginning and then iterate. So as you're making your product, you go back to them, you go back, you keep on going back. And
Mhm.
basically they'll help you create a product. At that point, it's called co-creation, right? And you'll be
Co-creation. Mhm.
amazed. People will be amazed how many, I mean, some people love brands, right? And they'll do anything for your brand if you ask them, right? Buy him pizza, buy him beer, and bring him in and ask him all these questions. So um, and there's very specific ways to use these tools, but yeah, it's an amazing tool set for reducing risk. In fact, some investment groups that I'm working with will use this, I think, to try to understand where the company is in terms of reading the future, right, and not making
Mhm.
mistakes of the past. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. What would you say to our listeners who might have discovered design thinking through models like value proposition, business modeling, empathy maps, and perhaps those look quite intimidating, or to our entrepreneurs who are at the beginning of accelerator programs? You and I, we've talked a little bit about the role of mindfulness. And
Mhm.
you value mindfulness in design thinking. I'd like to give you a chance to elaborate on that.
Yeah. So what I mean by mindfulness, if you see mindfulness as a state of hyper awareness, right, which
Mhm.
is hard to do at times, but if you're a designer and you've been hired to, well, as a founder, right, you've been you want to start an idea, and so it's a different take on if you're a founder or if you're a company trying to invent the next iPhone, right? Because if you're a founder, usually founders come in with a very structured idea of what they want to do,
Mhm.
and many of them suffer from what I call founderitis, which means that they say, I want to change the
Mhm.
world, and then but the world doesn't want you to change, right? So you're going to fail if you don't understand what is it that you're trying to change in a deep way. So what I tell founders is start immediately, and you'll be amazed how many founders have not done a journey map, right? A journey map is one of the tools, very powerful tool. And
You're saying that curiosity can get in the way of more curiosity.
right, right.
Mm.
But also hyper curiosity about
Mhm.
is what is it you're trying to build, right? If you're trying to
Yeah.
build the next, I don't know, the next car, right? Just make sure you understand before you do that. Do many rounds with your potential clients to understand and get underneath of what is it they want. Do they want another SUV, or do they want, another a smaller car, or you know what I'm saying? So it's very intuitive. It's a very intuitive tool, and mindfulness is important because if you're a product developer, I call product developers in a way, I call them social therapists, because at the end of the day, right, we want to lower people's friction, what they call friction points, and make everybody happier, right? You know, at the end of the day, if you design a better, collar for your dog that doesn't break when they try to pull away from you, and this is
Mhm.
fact happened, and somebody did invent a better collar that doesn't break, you're a happy person because your dog is not going to
Yeah.
run away. So at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's about using our intuition, our human connectedness to really understand deeply what they want. And at the end of the road, it's making people happier. So,
And those entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs who achieve that harmony, they can
exactly.
definitely reap the rewards.
Yes. And what's amazing about this process, the more you use it, the more you become, it's sort of like a way of therapy. You become very self-aware of your your listening skills improve, your empathy scores improve. There's a lot of neuroscience involved, and I'm looking into that, trying to research the neuroscience of design thinking because,
Mhm.
it uses a lot of our human capabilities, right? All those things that
Yeah, I hear a lot of personal development that happens. So
yes, yes,
nothing seems to be going wasted. No time. You're not only
yes,
creating a product or something, but you're also growing in that process as a person and
yes,
maybe as a leader.
absolutely, absolutely. And the beauty of it is every idea counts, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you're a CEO. For example, there was a case in Argentina where they're using design thinking to build a new building, and they were interviewing the janitorial staff, right? They said, "What do you want in your ideal building?" Right?
Mhm.
And they came up with these really cool ideas, and nobody even thought of because nobody ever talked to the janitor staff, right?
Yeah.
The architects came and designed the building, and they didn't talk to anybody. They said, "Guess what? The bathroom was in the wrong place," or the janitorial where they put the janitorial things was in the wrong place. So it's incredibly powerful and it leverages everybody's mind and it doesn't matter who you are, right?
I asked you, given the capability of this, uh, but at the same time, the uncertainty of the era we live in and the future, more to
Mhm.
come, is the importance of design thinking diminishing or increasing? What do you see?
It's increasing. There's a new awareness about it. I hate to use the term awareness, but it is a huge word nowadays, right?
Mhm.
For example, God, I was so trouble pronounce it. Colgate.
Yeah.
Pepsi, Indra Nooyi, which is one of my heroes. She turned around
Mhm.
Pepsi using design thinking. All companies are adopting it now. There's a nexus there. There's a connection of design thinking with. It's very important. It's imperative that in design thinking you tap into diverse mindsets. Okay, because every mindset, we're all different, right? No brain is different. No brain is the same. My brain is different than yours, and we all have different ideas of seeing a problem, different ways of seeing a problem. So unfortunately, this whole push back on DEI, it's affecting design thinking. But I think, you know, overall, people are open to experiencing it, and it's once you learn it, and that's what I want to do, instead of hiring the big consulting firms to do it for you. It's something you can do very cheaply, very very
Mhm.
cheaply. You don't need $1 million budgets, research budgets, or multi-million-dollar budgets. You can
Yeah, and
accomplish things very quickly. Yeah.
what I would say is it's about these conversations that we're having just now that can be so powerful. Getting practice with these type of conversations,
Right.
right?
Right.
And the more the merrier in a more uncertain world.
Exactly. In a certain world, in an uncertain world, you wanna try to get to the future faster in a way, right?
Mhm.
You want to try to anticipate the future. And design thinking allows you to do that because you're tapping into, again, when you're doing sessions with people, and there's a whole way of designing your sessions, right, with different people from different walks of life. You'll tap into, like I said, the different minds, and see, you can almost start getting better at reading the future, right, based on what they tell you. And that's a very powerful thing. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
You get
Uh,
at it. Thank you very much, Andres. Are you ready to connect with our other conversation partners today?
Sure, yeah. Let's see what's been learned so far.
Awesome.
Yeah.